Hey guys, Akariss here. So, Book 4 is upon us, and I know it's been a while, but I feel like a Fed channel analysis is due. There are definitely some important things to consider and talk about throughout this video, so sit back and let's get through it. First order of business is we really don't need to listen to FEH's super slow talk speed, so I'm going to move this up to 1.5, and we're going to review certain portions of the video which have big implications upon the future of the game, at least for the year going forward, assuming we get no brand new modes. So first thing that we'll really talk about is actually, as you may have expected, the brand new mode. Now, this video is recorded after we got the update notes, so I was able to actually inspect the mode and figure out exactly, what it means. Because some of the details here by FEH are not so important. Let's see. The first thing we look at is actually this right here. This is the kind of interface for the mode. Now, I want to assume that this is not, she calls it an event, okay? In the beginning of introducing the mode, right at this part, she's like, it's an event.
Enemies were part of a new event.
A new event. Now, I don't actually think that it is infrequent, like once a month. I don't assume. This is the only information I don't have yet, but I'm going to actually assume that it is not like once a month or once every 2 months, because, and the conclusion I come to this through is the reward scheme. If you look at the reward scheme, which is later on in the video here, we'll actually see tier systems and plus the new currencies and stuff, but especially the reward systems and the tier systems. Now, why is this important, you might ask, and why does this mean that the mode is going to happen? My assumption, my guess is bi-weekly. That's my initial guess. But if I was to really maybe consider it to be a thing, maybe once a month. The problem with it being once a month is that it will literally take us about a year to get up to tier 20. If we want to match this to like Arena, which it seems like it's kind of like Arena, but it's also kind of like Ether Raids, but it's also kind of like Relay Defense, if anyone knows that mode. This tier system likely goes way higher up. And the reason I know that is because if you remember tier 1 and even like most of the tiers under tier 10, you'll see that they were, you could take like 3 tiers of jump at a time. The rewards seem kind of like non-finalized. They're kind of like odd numbers, like 16, 65, and 8 is obviously not a final tier, 40% and such of people are in that tier. You know, those aren't really the same kind of numbers we'd expect from other ranked modes when it comes to tiers. So I definitely suspect that this goes up to tier 20, and because of that and like the slow climb of climbing tiers, I suspect that this mode should be at least bi-weekly, possibly even weekly, kind of like an arena mode. However, I mean, it's either weekly or it's bi-weekly because people need to climb up the tiers and they got to collect the rewards, whatever this happens to be. And we're going to get up to 40 flowers, probably alternating types, and whatever this notes are probably going to be up to like the hundreds every single time we collect it, which is probably gonna be a pretty important currency. I don't know anything about it yet, and I really can't really take a super good estimated guess here, but if we want to like assume currencies from other gachas, this could either be a way to buy skills using this currency or to add merges to units if we're going to really compare it to other modes. And the way that this whole system, this mode is played, you have to summon to make progression, same as Arena and kind of to lesser extent AR. You need to add merges on mythics now to add scoring. Now, why I'm going to talk about this is because it's not stated in this video, but if you actually look, we'll go back to this screen here, and I've clicked the beautiful, see that little question mark here? I've clicked it in game already, and what it does is it explains everything in detail, but most importantly, it talks about how scoring works in this mode. You'll see beginner, intermediate, advanced. This is similar to Arena. How do I know it's like Arena scoring? Well, it's actually shown to us right here. Not here. Let's find it. Come on, Faye. When she clicks advanced, we get to see it momentarily. That would be beginner, because Faye is a beginner, no doubt. There, okay, so this score here was based off of advanced. Now, how do you know it's advanced? If you actually looked at the top 4 units here, that is your arena score makeup. Ephraim, Thrasir, Alphonse, and Altena. It could have also been the other row, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of these rows, or both of them combined, ended up being your score system. If it's like AB, then the pair up unit doesn't affect the scoring, so you're free to choose whatever. But if it's both rows, then it's going to be the one of the rows or both the rows averaged out to an arena score. So it's just the same formula as arena scoring, but with the catch being mythic heroes. Mythic heroes add additional score. And if we go back to the screen here showing that, I'm going to explain exactly what this means. So this is the AR system. I like to call it the AR map. I'll likely make a guide covering this, the map, but I want to actually talk about what how to score in this mode and what it means for at least the year coming up. So as you can see, very specific here, we have a bonus structure. If you guys take a look, we have a bonus structure right here, and we have the Astra Anima in the current season. Then it would be dark and light, and then Astra Anima, and then light and dark. Now, it's very important to realize that there's a minor and a major season. There's actually 4 different seasons. So Astra and Anima is not the same as Anima Astra. What that means is that during Astra Anima, Astra Mythic heroes get a bigger bonus than the Anima heroes, and then vice versa. Anima gets more of a bonus than the Astras. Now, this is important for scoring. Through clicking on the question mark here, I determined that the positive, the major heroes, the major seasons, so for example, if you had a Naga, would receive an additional plus 10 of scoring. It's an invisible number, but let's say you had like a plus 5 Naga, she now scores as much as a plus 15 Naga. So what that means is that merges on mythic heroes are the super key factor to scoring as much as possible in this mode. They will score more than pretty much any arena core unit you've made so far. I've also confirmed that the blessings like earth, water, fire, and wind, those cores don't work in this mode either. So if you're trying to come in here with like 2 legendary Tikis and 2 earth heroes, that actually doesn't get a bonus at all in this mode. What you have to do is strictly use the mythics and in their appropriate seasons, plus their bonus in scoring. So merges on mythics, really important. I'm not totally surprised by this mechanic. They obviously wanted to monetize the year ahead. To be honest, I'm thankful. My opinion on this is I'm thankful that we're just focusing on mythics and still on legendaries to a lesser extent. So your progression is dictated by how much you invest into legendary and mythic banners. If you have invested into Altena, into Naga, into Air, into Yoon, into Sothis, all of them really, and you've been merging them, you are in a good spot. If you haven't, you are going to fall behind. We are obviously getting Peony, that was confirmed as well. So getting Peony merges with Naga at the end of this month, which was confirmed in the update notice. Naga and Peony are sharing at the December legendary banner, is a good time to add merges to your light cores. However, you still need to work on dark units, you still need to work on Astra, and you still need to work on Anima if you haven't already. The banner that just passed with Altena and Sothis has now determined that it was good value if you didn't have Astra units merged up, Astra Mythic heroes. And of course Sothis with Dark. So it would have covered a Dark major season, it would have covered an Astra major season. Now this might all seem a little confusing, but I'll try to summarize it again. How does scoring work? How do I rank up? I'm going to cover it in detail once I make the guide, but I want to give you guys as much info as you can. 4 different seasons: Astra Anima, Light Dark, Dark Light, and Anima Astra. 4 different sets. To use to get optimal scoring, you need mythic heroes. That's it. Your units basically are like mythic heroes. Okay, if you have mythic heroes, you score, but they have to represent those either major or minor. Minor seasons will require, so for example, light and dark. A dark hero will require +5 to outscore most units. A minor season gets +5 merges in score, and a major unit gets +10 merges in score. So your heirs, you're going to need them. Your Altanas, Nagas, you're going to need them during Astro. Your Yuns and Sothuses, you're going to need them during Dark. Your Dumas and Thrasirs, you're going to need them during Anima. But if they are highly merged, you can also use them during their appropriate minor seasons. For example, in Light and Dark, with Dark being the minor, if you have, like, let's say a +5 Sothis, she will be good enough because the +5 merge is given to her score to be used during the Light and Dark, and then also the Dark and Light to make your matchups easier. Another thing to talk about here is that by using the appropriate mythic heroes, they get buffed. They get +4 HP and stats. That's a lot of stats, because also later on, as shown by the character select screen here, you match them up as pair-ups. Pair-ups give you additional stats, and then on top of that, they get these extra stats here, extra res, defense, or speed. So your mythic heroes are going to be thick, and that combat prowess is going to be super important for completing this mode. Talking about the mode again, just some more things to look at. The reason I thought it was, let's say, a week or bi-weekly is because of how much of like a duration the shield phase is. Or rather the bracing phase, which is 5 days. So 5 days was shown here as a brace, but our current brace is going to be really short. We're going to have only like about a day or so to set it up, because if you look back here, our brace phase is only a day. But I think typically a brace phase is probably going to be about 5 days, maybe about a week. And then the shield might be just a day, or maybe a few days. And then the counter is also a day, or a few days at best. My assumption, shield is a day, counter is a day, and brace ends up being about half a week, 5 days or so, a little bit more than half a week, typically. And this is just the first exception to get people into the mode. So that is why I think the mode will likely be weekly in a duration, or bi-weekly, with the rest period being every other week. I think that rest period is actually good, so it doesn't burn people out, along with like AR and Arena also being prominent modes. So to be honest, like I'm digging this mode. I think it'll be a lot of fun because I've been asking for PvE related modes where you're not just basically walking into meta stuff. However, I am critical of whether this mode will be fun if you don't basically merge up your mythics for a bunch of bonus stats, or you know, with scaling, because the higher tiers you go and the higher score you're given through using those mythics or high arena score units, and you're pretty much forced to use like double rallies all over again, and arena score sets dual skills, basically gimping your units, means that it will become a little bit unfun as you run around with like rallies and really unoptimized skill sets for scoring, just to compete and get high score when the enemy units might have like abyssal stats. If you guys remember Relay Defense, that mode was in high, very, like people complained a lot because of really stacked units. And I feel the difficulty will scale as you go up in tiers and you use high scoring sets, units, skills, team comps, and whatnot. So be warned, I do think if you didn't like Relay Defense and you don't like PvE with really high HP and defense and attack units, generic units at least through PvE, it might not be super fun. However, there is nothing in this Fed channel that has kind of like implied that you can't do a retry. I mean, I've seen that she played it here, she got wrecked, and then it looks like she maybe had a second try. I don't think it is the same though, because you see like the building's not here. But if you go here, you know, it could potentially be a different shield phase, or a different try, a different season or whatever. I'm not 100% sure. There's not enough information to guess that. But I don't see any sort of stamina or anything like that. Maybe you just retry Allegiance Battle style until you win. That, because it only gives you like a day. So within a day you can, you know, you only play a few times, try to perfect your score, but focus on the scoring itself. So yeah, bonus structures are there. So first thing I would tell you guys right away is not to just build everything, but build them as you need to. Don't upgrade. Use that currency that is given for us for structures and make sure that you don't build everything at once. These structures definitely will go a long way into maybe easing the frustrations of the mode. You know, if you're using unoptimized skill sets and whatnot for scoring. Yeah, that pretty much sums up most of what we have to think about for this mode. This counter phase, there's not too much information to get on it because it just feels like a voting gauntlet, but like everyone versus the enemy team, and it just has a little bit of back and forth. From what I can tell, this is just like, you know, everyone's fighting on the same side, whereas your high score in the shield will determine your tier amongst others that are also playing the mode, and whoever has the most score goes up in the tiers, gets more rewards, and therefore uses whatever this new lucrative currency likely is. Yeah. So as you can see, it just looks a lot like a voting gauntlet thing, and you use like your flags or whatever at certain times to get an additional score based on the combo. It might be important. I'm not going to totally dismiss this. There's just not enough information here to really give me an idea of what we're going for. I'm going to focus mostly on the actual playing of the system and hope that like this isn't like an RNG fest mode and then people rank up because they chose to attack, you know, at 4 a.m. their time just because that was when the biggest bonus was. I really hope it doesn't come down to that and you basically have to play at certain times to get an advantage. That doesn't seem like fun. So I'm going to be mindful of this specific portion of this mode, and hopefully it won't matter too much. It'll just be like boom and you win. I mean, you guys feel free in the comments below to, you know, think what you might see this as. What do you feel like how important this portion of the mode is? But for now, I'm going to say it's probably just every man you know, fighting for a team and voting gauntlet against AI. That's kind of what it feels like. Okay, so yeah, there isn't information on Divine Code yet, but I definitely would say, based on how currencies in the previous books were treated, it's likely going to be very important. Just compare. Sacred coins, important. Refining stones, important. Book 2, grails, important. So based on that precedent already, divine codes, likely very important. So prepare yourself with the mode, you know, review the information in the video if you need a second look at why, you know, what you can do and why it's important to get a head start. Save your resources for now for like the building stones. Don't use them. Wait until their bonus structures happen. Then we get a better idea of what meta and what structures would be working to give yourself an advantage. So if you have, the more mythics you have, the better place you are. I'm not going to review the new heroes as I usually, if you guys know me enough by now, new heroes are basically a bait and there's really no reason to pull for them, especially now considering that we have AR scoring system, arena scoring system, all the Coliseum modes really, and now this new mode which kind of wants you to pull mythic heroes. It does mean that it's not really worth summoning on this banner. I could already tell you right away. So that keeps that. We look at the brand new book 4 debut. It's a beautiful little fairy girl and her evil fairy sisters. Hooray. Hopefully, I mean every single book so far has progressed better in story, so maybe this one will be better, and that's cool. By the end, she does confirm that Peony, as the new girl is called, is here on the banner. Now, this does mean that it is technically better value to pull for Peony here than it would be on a legendary or mythic banner if you're strictly sniping Peony. So if you guys are targeting strictly Peony here, then technically this banner is worth it to get just as many merges as possible on Peony as soon as you can. There's definitely some reasoning to that. However, the update notice has confirmed that Peony is going to show up at the end of this month, sharing with Naga. And as we pretty much covered in this video, Mjolnir Strike is going to require merges of every single type of mythic. In fact, since most people likely have a merged up air, Peony won't be as important to cover in Mjolnir Strike as Naga is. So I think that it's better value to pull for Naga and Peony simultaneously. Unfortunately, I predict Picnic Lucas is going to be there, and he kind of sucks as the third kind of blue from the legendary banner at the end of this month. But 2 mythics is better than 1 for person banners. If this was a hero fest, then I probably would have said that this is worth going for. But since it is not a hero fest, the legendary banner at the end of this month, Peony and Naga, will definitely give you a head start into competing in this mode and definitely giving yourself as much of an advantage. So, I mean, I was covering Fed Channel, but I mean, I guess I was kind of looking at Mjolnir Strike because that's pretty much what the whole kind of book was about in terms of gameplay changes and features. I'm really excited to find out what Divine Codes is, and yeah, I definitely look forward to that. So I hope you guys are too. Look forward to the coming days and weeks as we play through the mode. That'll cover a more extensive in-depth guide on the mode. Kind of going to reiterate what I said here, but the information is there. And definitely maybe give you guys at least some first impressions tips and maybe a little bit of a guide to get started in the mode beyond just what should I kind of orient my summons or orbs towards, okay? Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you guys in the next video. As always, much love and peace.